The Bring a Trailer Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BAT Podcast. This is Randy Nonnenberg, co-founder of Bring a Trailer here at BAT HQ in San Francisco. I have a super special guest today, Rob Fisher, joining me. Rob Fisher is the chairman of the Hillsborough Concours d'Elegance Foundation and past chairman of other parts of that show. That's a local show here in the Bay Area. It is esteemed for a number of reasons, one of which is, Rob, give me the right title here, longest continually running Concours, not just in California.
In the world.
In the world,
yeah.
Because it gets that continuously running because they never took a year off since the founding. When was it founded?
1956.
1956 it started, all the way till 2026 will be a bit of an anniversary year.
Yeah.
And BAT is going to be there at the Concours for our first time.
Very excited.
Different folks on staff have attended different times, but now we get to have the BAT presence, and the show is going to be a great show. And thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Great to be here. I'm excited to be here.
You've been to BAT HQ before. You call yourself an OG BAT user, which I love hearing. And then We'll talk about the show, which is coming up. Give us the date on the show, June
28th.
28th. Which is coming here pretty quick.
Crystal Springs Golf Course off 280.
That's right.
And it's actually a Concours weekend. So we have a kickoff party on the 26th, where we call a Start Your Engines kickoff party. And that is a really special event that's held at a private car collection club located in Burlingame. So it's a really neat venue that has fabulous food, and the honorary judges will be there, and a bunch of entrants and anyone else who wants to come kind of help kick off the weekend. And then Saturday morning, we have the Tour d'Elegance, which is always a sellout as well, where we have upwards of 80 to 100 cars that queue up in the morning in Burlingame and then take off on a great drive. And this year, we're going to go see a very, very special private collection. And after viewing that collection, we'll end up back in Hillsborough at a private estate that has not been used before for us on the tour. And it's going to be an unbelievable facility, just outstanding place to kick back, have some great food, and talk about the drive they did that day. And then on Sunday, we've got the Concours, our 70th annual.
Fantastic. I'm super excited about the Saturday. I wasn't going to let you gloss past that anymore because I'm excited to be there. I love driving. I've done some driving with you before at different events. The Saturday event, I'm hoping to do with my dad and jump in a car and get to do that and see those special spots you're talking about. It sounds like it'll be pretty terrific.
It's a lot of fun because people bring everything from, their
These are show cars? These are cars that will be in the show? This is just civilian other cars?
It could be anything, but you'd be amazed. I mean, we've had everything from SP2 Ferrari to 250 GTO to last year we had the Wienermobile. And by the way, it was amazing because it took me over 10 years. It's a little known secret. You have to apply online. And there are 5 Wienermobiles. They're all over the country.
Apply for what?
To have them come to your event.
Oh, they came to the event.
So they actually came to the event. And
they serve food, or they give people T-shirts, or what do they do?
They were just the greatest. It was the greatest thing ever. I have to tell you, of all the stuff I've done with the Concours, we usually kind of rate my happiness with the event on the types of cars that came. We get something really special, or we have a special person attending, or what have you. But when I got that email telling me that the Wienermobile was going to be coming, I absolutely flipped out. In fact, I yelled, and my wife's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I'm like, "We got the Wienermobile."
So did that one pull onto the lawn on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what class was it in, or what was it doing?
It was just parked over on the side. Actually, by the way, it was parked over where you guys are going to be.
Oh, okay. Great. We're in the 1 year later
spot.
Yeah, there you go.
Premier spot.
I hope it's premier, and it's not just the hot dog parking.
No, and the Wienermobile won the Children's Choice Award.
Okay.
As you would expect.
Okay.
But it was great. They let us tour inside of it. The thing is actually pretty amazing vehicle. And I got a little bit of history from the gals, and there were 2 women, and they're just out of college, and they just were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and just
how far did it come? Where was it out of? SoCal?
So it came out of LA.
LA.
So they flew in. One of them was from Wisconsin, the other one from South Carolina. So they met in LA, and they were attached to the hip for a couple of months, driving the Wienermobile all over the place.
Okay, now you got to be careful and not set expectation that anybody shows up this year. It's gonna be the Wienermobile show. That was a one and done.
That was a one.
Is that right?
That was a one and done.
Okay, but sounds like a highlight.
It was.
And I'm sure you got some, aces up your sleeve for what's going to show up this year. But why don't you tell people a little bit about the show, like either the classes or the structure or what's going on, or why has it been so long standing when all these other shows have come and gone? This one is still, right up there as one to see.
That's a great question. I think. Well, first I'll just talk about the show. So the show this year, it's our 70th anniversary, and it started in 1956, and it was basically a humble little show. And we can talk more about the history in a minute, but it is basically the reason it has stayed, I think, as long as it has is because of the incredible amount of community support. We're a 100% volunteer organization, always have been, probably always will be. And we talk about our group as being kind of small but mighty. I mean, our actual operating committee that puts the show on is like 25 people. It swells to about 60 on the day because of volunteers that'll come and help out. But otherwise, just generally speaking, we're a pretty small little crew that get together once a month. But we got great support from the community, but we also have great support from the collectors and the car owners because we bring real quality judging. We have a phenomenal 70-year relationship with the SCCA, who brings a tremendous number of judges for us, as well as Ferrari Club of America, Rolls-Royce Bentley, and then the Classic Car Club of America. And this year, the basic same kind of format. We've got about 23, 24 judge classes. We have 3 or 4 special displays, and then we have a mix of presentations, like we've got a automotive seminar where we'll be talking potentially with yourself, telling about your story and the story behind Bring a Trailer. And we also have a new car display where we joke about it, them being potentially the Concours entries in 30, 35 years. They bring over the modern cars from the new car display, the guys that, are on the field showing their cars off, all the current models. One of the things we're also featuring is 100th anniversary of Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, great.
And what's really neat about that is I was doing some research. You always 6, 8, 9 months out, 10 months out ahead of the show, you start looking about things that might be featuring. And I was doing some research and found that Mercedes-Benz was founded on June 28th, 1926. And our show is June 28th, 2026. So 100 years to the day Mercedes-Benz was formed. So we've got 3 classes of Mercedes, and we got a bunch of different, really exciting, interesting Mercedes that I think everything from pre-war spectacular big cars all the way up to late 20s.
And is it secret? I mean, are you allowed to say a car that's coming, or people are supposed to show up and be amazed? You're not supposed to really let the cat out of the bag until they show up.
We're actually doing a press release on one of them. So the Keller Collection, which I'm sure you know,
absolutely,
it has the premier Mercedes.
You've never snuck me in there, though. I've tried to ride a few different coattails to try to get in and see that deal, but never. My invite always gets lost in the mail.
We'll talk.
Okay,
it is spectacular.
Yes,
it's unbelievable. But they have all kinds of different cars, but they're mostly known for their Mercedes collection. And so we're getting this beautiful 1939 540K Special Roadster that has unbelievable provenance history, royal history. And we're just very grateful, very thankful to them for bringing the cars out. It's a really interesting challenge too for Concours. And we were talking about longevity, and it's not hard to get a lot of modern cars. And you see a lot of those types of shows are still very popular these days. Tuner shows, lowrider, modified, hot rod, resto mods. The good guys are still going really, really strong. But traditional Concours, which the core of that is unmodified, original, that's been getting harder and harder and harder to get people that have their cars like that. And when you start talking about the really older cars, the pre-war cars, a lot of the folks that owned those no longer own them, have passed away. You can't work on them, can't get parts. And so it's getting harder and harder for those cars to, come to the shows. And then when you talk about some of these, these marquee cars, what really is interesting is some of those have become so valuable that it's too expensive to take them out, because of the insurance. And before it used to be, we'll just put it on a trailer and we'll take it. But because of, again, like values and insurance and risk and all that kind of stuff, a lot of these like museums used to participate quite a lot. Now very few take their cars out anymore unless they get a special rider. And frankly, a lot of times they'll ask the Concours itself to pay for that.
Insure all these expensive cars.
Pay for the transport, pay for the gas, pay for the hotels. And, we work on a nothing budget. I mean, we very razor thin. Everything we make net, we give to our charities.
Mm-hmm.
And so that creates a bit of a challenge. I mean, we've lost 2 Concours this year. The Nilo Serrano Concours is no longer happening, which normally happens in October, and the Ferndale Concours is not happening. So there's now just 2 Northern California, not counting Pebble, Concours now. So it's tough, but our sponsors love us, we love them, and we continue to add and grow our sponsorship support, which is great. Frankly, thank you. Bring a trailer on. I mean, it really makes a difference because the expenses of putting on these shows is also astronomical. Food and the tents and the insurance, things like that. All of those things continue to rise. And as an event planner, it's really hard to also say, for example, raise your ticket prices commensurate to what your expenses have gone up. Same thing with the entry fees. At some point you get this inverse relationship and people start dropping off. And fortunately, we've had a nice balance with that, but that's because we've been able to, as prices have increased, fortunately, we've added sponsors to help fill that void. But it's tough. There's a lot of competition for those dollars, and it's, you pay $1,000 to sponsor a class and it might not seem like a whole lot, but people can put that $1,000 to a lot of different uses.
Yep. And off the bottom line, what you're talking about the rest going to charity, right? Like if you don't charge that or don't net that, it really makes a different dynamic for what's left over at the end, which is great. Tell us about the charities that it supports.
Sure. We support charities called AbilityPath, which is interesting enough, over a 100-year-old charity that was founded in Hillsborough. And it is a charity that specializes in helping children and adults that are neurodivergent. And it's amazing. They do training, occupational therapy. They do OJT on the job, help people get jobs. They're just a phenomenal organization. It's headed up by Brian Knight. He was at Electronic Arts, who, of all things, he was my cross the street neighbor.
Oh, okay.
When we were raising our kids together in Baywood and in San Mateo. And just as luck would have it, he had a great career. Now he's serving the community. He's CEOs, philanthropy there. Second charity is the Guardsmen, San Francisco Guardsmen, and they send underprivileged children to camp. Unbelievable organization. Again, been around for decades. And then our last charity is the Hillsborough Schools Foundation, and that's really kind of our OG as well. It was originally the Hillsborough Parents Group or something like that. That started in 1956. So those 3 primary charities, and we work really hard for them. And they help us as well. They provide volunteers and they publicize the event.
That's terrific. You mentioned we'd touch on the history of the show. I definitely want to hear about the history of the show. I think it's very interesting how Concours started to spring up and how they were organized and what it was all around, right? There's a few that are well known, obviously, sort of Pebble's history and how they did it associated with the racing, and other, San Diego, different ones have some cool history behind them. And then European Concours that we were familiar with, you're kind of swimming in that pond amongst all of these. But then we also want to tease the audience and hear about some BAT stories that you have. So I want to do both of those. But let's cover the history of the show first, because I'm anxious to hear it from the horse's mouth. So 1956, somebody decides what's the move and who was involved.
So it was the Hillsborough Schools Parents Association.
Oh, okay.
And they decided to put on a quote unquote car show. And
my Chrysler downstairs is 1956. I mean, one of those could have been pulled on as a brand new car, or were they showing, stuff from the teens in the first show? Do you have pictures from the first show?
Yeah, we do. And it's going to be in our program as well.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
It's extraordinary. I mean, we had everything from, a early 1900s Didion all the way up to a 1956 DB. And Maseratis and we had Rolls Royces. They had over 100 cars. It was incredible. And in fact, the car that won first place was a Rolls Royce.
Okay.
But it was always kind of it was held at the school field at the North School in Hillsborough. And they just basically parked on the pitch there. And actually had SCCA judges, and they had a whole bunch of other interesting honorary judges.
Mhm.
In fact, Bing Crosby, who lived in Hillsborough, he was known to go to the Hillsborough
Did he live in
Oh, yeah.
Hillsborough?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I know he had a house down on the peninsula, and then obviously all over the place. But
Yeah.
he was a Hillsborough guy.
He was.
Okay,
He
and was he there?
Word was he came 2 or 3 times.
Is that right?
Yeah. In fact,
So cool.
I have a picture of him sitting in one of the cars.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And,
Because Hillsborough, I mean, we know this is a nationwide, worldwide audience that is listening to this,
Yeah.
and some will know Hillsborough like you and I do, and some will probably not. But it's a lovely community in the Bay Area where a lot of sort of who's who have lived over the years, or maybe still do.
Yep.
Lovely views out over the Bay, and it's a hilly, sort of private, secluded thing. But it's how far from San Francisco? 25 minutes from San Francisco.
Yeah. it's
So
20 minutes.
it has always had some super interesting people of industry and local influential folks that have lived there. So it doesn't surprise anybody when you say, hey, Hillsborough has a very nice concours, but also there's cars hidden in those garages over the years that are like unbelievable. So when I was a kid, you'd go like driving around in those neighborhoods trying to peer, what people had in their side yard or what people had in their driveway. It was always very cool. So that kind of springs up this, the parents of this school just decide to pull their Bentleys out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing was a reality.
No question about it. And I haven't been able to find the list of entrants. I got several of the cars, but I was not able to get the official entry list. But you have to remember back then it was like their first time. But what I have found over time is I've picked up this really interesting archive from the past shows, and the local Parents Association, they were really good about actually documenting cars and entries and keeping programs and keeping like literally entry forms and things like that, and entrant lists. So I've got quite a hodgepodge of it. And again, I took a whole bunch of pictures of them, and they're going to be kind of a montage in our program this year. But it happened on October 7th in 1956. One of the things I noticed is I was doing some research, pulling up some of these old newspaper articles. So there was press before the event, and then there was post-event press. And they were talking about that Abigail Van Buren was going to be there giving people advice. So, those of younger people here probably don't know who that is, but that's the old Dear Abby, who used to have a syndicated national column for giving
Was she
advice.
Bay Area?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew that Dear Abby was Bay Area.
Who would have thought?
Okay.
And and we get local dignitaries, the Consul General from England
Okay.
came to the event.
Yep. He liked the Bentleys.
Yeah, no question. And I think he was happy the Rolls Royce took first place. But it's just kind of picked up momentum from there. And as they said in the post press from the first event, the article said the organizers declared it the first annual. So I think they said it was a humdinger of a show or something like. They use one of those typical oldie school exclamations. But and then just over time, it has just kind of done the same thing. And what's interesting is as it evolved, I mean, it became an even bigger event. So it was not just cars. Then they started adding a fashion show. They added a tennis tournament. They added a gala.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a cookbook. There's a Hillsborough Concours cookbook. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, when people found out that I was involved in it, out of the woodwork, some of this stuff would come to me. I've got a Hillsborough Concours ruler. I've got, of course, various sets of ties.
Yep.
In one of the boxes I found, there was a book that had 3 different cardboard pages that had probably 24 dash placards from the various Hillsborough Concours. Yeah,
those are cool.
That was really neat to see. We'll see pictures of those too in the program. And dash placards used to be a pretty hot little item to give away, and people would actually stick them. Stick them on their cars.
Absolutely. We sell a lot of cars that have, you look through the gallery and you see all these different placards. I wonder what we have for Hillsborough. I bet there's been some that have maybe had some of the old Hillsborough dash plaques.
But it was neat because, there was, interestingly enough too, there was a lot more written in the newspapers about automotive events than I would have expected. I mean, there was a lot.
Like in the Chronicle or in like a Peninsula paper,
in the Standard and Chronicle, Hillsborough Boutique and Villager. It was quite popular. And that's when like the Guardsmen, for example, were original sponsor of the races in the Presidio, because the Presidio used to have a really well-known race.
Of San Francisco. Presidio San Francisco had a
exactly.
drive.
Yeah,
And
it's kinda like
Golden Gate Park actually did.
Yeah.
I didn't know too much about the Presidio one,
Yeah.
but I knew that Golden Gate Park did.
Can you imagine trying to get that done now?
Well, you
It'd be
were
impossible.
around. No, but you were around when they were trying to do a resurgence of the Golden Gate Park one. Were you around for that? They wanted to do that again. Hay Bales in Golden Gate Park and do it. And obviously that went nowhere. That wasn't going to happen. But also, I mean, something that I've always thought was interesting is, the different places that they raced around. I always wonder if it had a connection to Hillsborough. I mean, SCCA was running at Candlestick Park, right? I mean, and that's only 10 minutes from Hillsborough. I mean, it's like right there, right? There's legit early races.
Gymkhanas and
for sure.
Rallies, road, all kinds of different races, all kinds of different cars, all kinds of different events.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame because they're really just, other than on tracks right now and the occasional something like a Cal Melee, and these different kind of high-end rallies, which are really lovely, but they're very small and there's no
exclusive. It's very exclusive.
Very exclusive. There's no audiences and stuff. It's kind of a shame because people used to just come out and literally watch these cars rip around the Presidio. Or the as you know, Del Monte Forest down in Monterey. That's what the original. I mean, Pebble Beach was just a car
where
show.
The show came from.
After that was accompanied the races. And it's kind of a shame that stuff's gone away. But we do.
The Concours was like the cookbook. You just added on to the existing event, right? And then it became the main event, right? Over some years. Yeah, for sure.
So the Concours, it just kind of kept evolving and they started adding more like a fair. So they had the police would come and have the attack dog show, and they would have.
Is there such a thing as an attack dog show?
Yeah. It was
Man, what era is this?
It was the canine.
I know.
To be a thief, and the dog comes ripping across.
Is that like in the 90s, or is that like in the 50s?
80s, 90s. No, the Hillsborough Police Department have been amazing supporters of us.
I've never been to an attack dog show. I may need to still do that.
Oh, it was.
Are you saying you were in attendance? You were in attendance? Oh man, where was I? I did again. My invite got lost, or I was a little kid, I guess.
Well, my parents. I lived in Hillsborough. My parents moved to Hillsborough when I was a sophomore in college, and so that's where I got introduced to the Concours. I was always a car guy. And, grew up just loving anything that turned fuel into noise, cars, boats, planes, whatever. I was all over it, motorcycles, much to my parents' chagrin. But the Hillsborough Concours was fun. And they had, like I said, they had the police thing. They had a dunk tank. The parents were out there barbecuing, making hot dogs and hamburgers and cotton candy. And so it was very much of a community event. In fact, I read on one of the newspaper articles about one of the years, I think it was like 1969 or something. They said they had 20,000 people.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, wow. To be honest, I would kill.
I know. Most Concours would. I think that is a lot.
They said 20,000 people.
Wow.
And it's amazing because, again, like for all the entrants, the parents group were making sandwiches, so you entered your car, you get a spot on the field, you get a little whatever, gift bag, and you get a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I would hear these stories about how guys would come and bring all these big picnic baskets and stuff, particularly like the old Rolls-Royce Bentley guys. They'd open up their boot and they would have these amazing baskets, champagne and the whole thing, which leads me to the current Concours, because back then on school property, there are two main things you couldn't do.
Ooh.
Serve or drink alcohol.
Okay.
Because it's state school property.
Okay.
And there wasn't any corporate sponsor tent type of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so that, as you can imagine, really limited the income capacity.
The economics were hard. Absolutely.
Just pure donations. Mm-hmm. But it was still, an incredibly well-respected event. And in fact, so folks like Lauren Tryon and Jay Human, who created the modern Pebble Beach. Sandra Button has done an amazing job, but she worked for them originally. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that basically turned the event from basically a car show that wasn't doing all that well into the world-renowned event that it was. Mm-hmm. And Jay Human and Lauren were both honorary judges at one time at the event. And back then, so the Concours was moved up to usually the first Sunday in May. They wanted to get it out of the fall. And so part of that made it really good timing for teeing up cars for Pebble. And so the car that took best of show at Hillsborough always got invited to Pebble.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of a cool little thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
officially, or that just happened? That was like, that just always seemed to happen, or that actually was an
like Jay
arrangement?
Human, who was the chairman, he'd walk up and he'd go, you're invited to Pebble.
You're coming. Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
Pebble. And I don't know how long that went on, but so that continued to raise the prestige of the event. But again, because of the Bay Area and the car collectors that you mentioned as well, I mean, there are incredible collectors that lived in Hillsborough and the greater Bay Area. In fact, there's a fellow, this George Dyer, who had like a 250 GTO, and he used to take his kids to school in it.
Yeah.
And he had a Miura, and he had a bunch of cars. He was just a super cool guy, and ripping around Hillsborough.
Yep. Spencer used to live down there, right? Bev Spencer used to live down there. The Ferrari dealer in San Francisco used to live down the hills. Pictures of Phil Hill at his rose garden in Hillsborough, right?
Bob Cole, legend, and racer and collector and pet candy store founder and all that kind of stuff. But so again, the event really pretty much went on unabated, thank goodness, for all these years. And then in 2009, there was a big change I guess in the local demographic about supporting these types of things. And the show started to really struggle. And I think part of it was they made it a little bit more focused on the carnival type of stuff and less on the cars. And I think the show got a little less serious from a collector perspective. And so, when the animals in the circus, so to speak, become, kind of more boring, people don't want to go to the circus, I guess. And so, in 2009, it was decided that the Hillsborough Schools Foundation was no longer going to do the show. And I heard about that and had a big conversation with them and then with the town of Hillsborough. And I, with a few other folks, put together and formed the Hillsborough Concours Foundation, and basically took over the show from Hillsborough Schools. And, I mentioned before, you couldn't have alcohol and you couldn't have corporate sponsorship. We figured out, if you're going to really have an event that's going to survive, you got to have those two things. And so I went on the hunt for a new venue and talked to a number of different places, and ultimately ended up at just up the hill, beautiful Crystal Springs Golf Course, which is on Crystal Springs Reservoir. And I worked out an agreement with the folks that manage that, wonderful folks at a company called Corsco that manages a whole bunch of properties around the state. And interestingly enough, that property is actually owned by the city of San Francisco, and SFPUC, because it's land
the water
because of the water department.
Yeah, that's right.
Which makes for interesting permitting.
Yeah.
And it's technically known as the greenest golf course in the country, too.
Huh. In terms of color or in terms of eco? In terms of eco. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's anything that they use, because typical golf courses, they flood everything with fertilizer, kind of the weed killer and all that stuff. They can't do any of that stuff. And so they have very special management skills that keep that course in the shape that it's in. But also, if you've ever played there, there's deer walking all around.
Yeah, that's right.
Raptors flying, and it's a beautiful, beautiful venue. And so we worked out the deal there. And so in 2010, we moved the Hillsborough Concours from North School in Hillsborough up the hill to Crystal Springs Golf Course, 18th hole. And, part of that was, in order to make that successful, clearly we had to be able to keep the brand. And we worked out basically, for $1 a year, we have the license for that.
Okay.
But we're all Hillsborough parents. So we've all had kids go through Hillsborough schools. And so we obviously want to make sure we continue to support that. But otherwise, we are allowed to, we created a whole new logo, a whole new branding, a website, all new content. And we morph the logo every year based upon the theme, but the core logo is still in the middle of it. And we were really celebrating being formed in 1956. But we did a ton of research and worked with a fellow by the name of Charles Rochelle, who has a company called Brand Advisors here in San Francisco. Was a dear friend of mine from just post-college years. And he was kind enough to put his team on and help design a brand new logo. And then we just started going out and telling everybody, reaching out to the car collectors and reaching out to everybody that said, hey, the Concours not dead. And we're going to create a whole new show. It's going to be very car and owner centric. So we're trying to bring back that ethos of quality cars, quality judging, quality environment, and equally important, quality food, quality experience. And I coined the phrase, Hillsborough Concours, come for the cars, but stay for the day. And the goal in my first PowerPoint deck I put together was to hopefully be one of the most well-attended social and automotive events in the Bay Area. And we've done a pretty good job on executing on that, and I couldn't do it without the amazing team that we have. So, it's been amazing. We average between 180 and 200 cars and about a dozen motorcycles on the field each year. Usually have between 20 and 25 classes. And we've got about a dozen, what we call perpetual awards, these honorary awards that are given out by the honorary judges. They're kind of the coveted awards. The People's Choice Award, the Strother McMinn Award, the Franklin Templeton Best Open Pre-War, those kinds of things. And people love those.
And you're still, you've got this claim to fame of continuously running. So obviously you swept in and like wanted to
we didn't want to
reinvigorate this, but that was right. If it was having issues in, what'd you say, 2009 or 2010, you were there for that year and got it relocated and up and running at the new location. First year at the new location was what?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay. So a 16-year run. And then obviously you've been continuous through. There were some COVID years there that were a little weird. And there's a couple other things too, but you've kept it rocking and rolling. So I want to hear this sort of last 16 years chapter after the reinvention. Like tell us about that.
Well, you mentioned COVID. So all Concours got reset in 2020. So our continuous run ended in 2020. We did not have a show, nor did anybody else for the most part.
Oh, I see.
So we locked in the longest continually running show.
Oh, I see.
Because
the claim to fame of that forever because everybody stopped.
Yeah, because everybody stopped.
Oh, interesting.
So now we're all starting again, technically. So 2020 was the end of that run.
Okay, because COVID was a real deal, right? It changed events, it changed everything. There was almost no way to do it, particularly in California. Things were pretty locked down. So it flipped back on after that in what,
2021.
2020? Oh, okay. So it only missed 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Okay, missed 1 year. Yeah, that was right in the late spring 2020, which was a crazy time for everybody.
Yeah, we almost made it. But they couldn't guarantee that the lockdown was going to, in other words, the county health department said, essentially, we can't let you do this, even though it's open air.
Yeah.
And we're like, we'll give out masks to everybody,
so
with all this stuff.
In hindsight, it's all so crazy.
Oh, I know. All these hand wash stations, the whole bit. And they're like, we're just not going to let you do it.
Yeah.
And we need to have the health permits because we serve food and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't run it. But like the earlier shows, like La Jolla got hit hard because they're always in April. So they had no hope.
Yeah. I remember all that.
And then Pebble, who was after us, they still canceled too.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, part of their problem was they couldn't, not to speak for them, but a lot of their folks come in from Europe and around the world.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Nobody was flying in.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sure they also had major permit problems too and sponsor problems.
Yeah.
All the above.
So, but in general, outside of that issue, in general, since 2010, like what has happened? You relocated it. You kind of had to breathe some life into it. You said it was kind of waning in the 2006, 7, 8, 9, and then you relocated, but it's been kind of building from the ground up for the foundation and other things. Is that right?
We just keep going strength to strength. The one thing I did was I moved it out of May because we were just getting a lot of rain and nobody likes to go out to shows and show cars in the rain.
Yep.
So we bounced around from a couple of dates. We tried September. We tried August. I thought it'd be a really great idea to try to do it the weekend after Pebble because I had this brilliant idea that, the cars are already here.
I don't know about that.
Well, I found that out the hard way. Yeah, the cars are already here. I'm sure we just get them to come off the road. As when I quickly realized at 4:01 on Sunday, they're all loading trailers and they get the hell out of town.
Yeah,
and they're all exhausted. And so that didn't last long. And so then we moved it into July for a little bit, and we realized it was a little hotter than we wanted it to be. And so now we settled on the third weekend in June. Normally, this year we're the fourth weekend in June, fourth Sunday, because Father's Day is the third weekend. And suffice it to say, there's zero chance that Crystal Springs Golf Course was going to let us have the golf course on Father's Day.
Oh, is that right? Interesting. That's a golf course thing.
Yeah,
I'd love to go to a car show on Father's Day, but the venue is a little tricky.
Well, funnily enough, Palo Alto Concours that was around for many years, they were on Father's Day.
They're gone. I last went to that in about 2001. But it was cool, but it was right there in town, but it's been long gone.
They died in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And actually the guy who was the chairman of that event, Hal Schutte, joined my operating committee.
Oh, that's great.
And then he's one of our honorary judges now.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah. But it's been going just strength to strength. We've been adding sponsors, been getting, importantly, we've been getting more and more recognition for the quality of the cars and taking care of the entrance. It's going to sound funny, but I had a couple of hard rules, like no blue holes of death. So you'll see none of the
what's that mean?
Porta potties.
Oh,
none of those. So we have very nice trailer.
I'm so naive. I've never heard that one.
That's just kind of my thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I want, nothing against anybody who has these, but no food trucks.
Okay.
Going to be catered food.
Yeah.
And, minimizing barbecue stuff because the smoke and things like that. We don't want, we had a guy, a caterer in, I think our second year, he had a big open barbecue pit and it was fine for making great food, but the smoke and the stuff that was the residuals that were in the air were getting on the cars.
Oh, yeah. That's the kiss of death right there.
People were not
sorry, sir. Yeah, you're gonna have to put that out.
Not happy. Getting some really great support from the local dealerships. Burlingame has this phenomenal auto row.
And a history of interesting characters again, right? People running those dealers and running cars, slinging cars around everything, right? Which ones come
Joe
to mind for you?
Putnam and Rector.
Joe Putnam. He used to be on the radio advertising that stuff.
Yeah, with Kruko. And it's funny. I bought a Putnam Mazda. I bought an RX-7 from them.
Oh, is that right?
No, it's Putnam Family Dealerships is what they're called now. Okay. They have been a phenomenal title sponsor for us as well.
I love that they still have a privateer name on them, right? It's not like the Auto Nation Mazda of Hillsborough or Burlingame, right? They still got some family names on the dealers. I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of tragic. Like Rector was always, Rector Cadillac, Audi,
all these family
Porsche,
names, right?
But they were forced to
Carlson's. All these families that ran those
neutralize it now.
Yeah,
it's just Porsche Burlingame.
Yep, that's right.
But yeah, we've been blessed with having great dealership support, exotics as well. And what's really kind of fun too is they come back to me after the event and they talk about what a good time they had, and almost to the dealer, they will sell a couple cars.
Oh, interesting.
On the field. We had Silicon Valley Exotic, Silicon Valley Luxury or whatever. And they had a phenomenal Lambo on the field. And the guy walked up, was like, I want it. And I'm like, well, you can't have it here yet or something.
Yeah. Tomorrow. We'll sell it to you on Monday. Yeah.
And so
that's cool.
At least that's the story I was told anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's continued to grow, and we starting to see more and more collectors bringing their cars. It was very much California, and then we started picking up a little Oregon, a little bit of Washington, a little bit of Arizona, a little bit of Southern Cal. Although, interestingly, we talked about the insurance and the costs and all that kind of stuff. We used to get a lot more Southern California entrants, but they just don't come up north of Santa Barbara too much anymore.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's really hard. You've got La Jolla and you got San Marino down there. San Marino's this weekend.
I've never been to San Marino. I know where the La Jolla one is, and have followed that one a little bit, but never the San Marino.
Yeah, Aaron Rice puts on a great show. He's a perennial entrant for Hillsborough. He's one of the few SoCal people that come up. My gosh, he's won Best of Show 3 or 4 times, and he brings just incredible cars.
Cool.
But he puts on that great show down there. We'd love to see more Southern California support. And again, the thing is it's a trailer, it's gas, it's a hotel, it's food. And back, 20, 30 years ago, that was less material than it is now. And you just don't get that support like we like to.
But you're still ramping up support for it, and I'm excited to see the entrance on Sunday. I'm also excited to see the entrance on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we want to encourage people to attend. We have a cool BAT ticket offer, and that's going to be for the first 200 people that claim it.
Yep.
We'll have a discount on tickets for people who drop a line through BAT. Tell the audience how that's going to work.
Sure. Yeah. You go to our website, hillsboroughconcours.org, and when you go to buy tickets, it'll ask if you have a discount code, and the BAT code is BAT26, and that'll get you a $10 discount on your tickets. And it's good for the first 200 ticket purchasers.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And sorry, what's ticket entry fee? $10 off of what?
It's $85 on the day, but if you buy it ahead of time, it's $75 right now.
Okay, $75 less 10 if you do it via BAT. So get out there and use the BAT code. We'll put that in the right up on this podcast and also in the show notes so that you can click on that and make sure you go straight over to the Hillsborough website. We'd love to see people. We're going to have the BAT tent there on Sunday and our staff as well. So come on out and say hello. Sounds like there'll be some people interviewed and different sorts of things in terms of what's going on at the show that day. And you'll get to see at least one Keller collection Mercedes, which is incredible.
Yeah.
That's like top of the heap type stuff. So I'm excited for all that. And then, so yeah, that's a ton on the show. And we're super psyched that BAT is a sponsor and involved in it. But as you guys in the audience can hear, Rob is a perfect MC for the show. He's local. He's kind of the guy that saved it on some level, if I can say that. And he's also, great at chatting about it. But people would maybe like to know some of your connection to BAT too. I told you, I
Sure.
warned you in advance. You've got a few early BAT stories, and then our connections as well, and San Francisco car culture and other things we could talk about. So tell the audience a little bit about how this connection to BAT came about, and your and my connection and all of that.
Sure. Well, the BAT connection goes way back, interestingly enough. So I lived in London for 6 years, from 2001 to 2007. And I've always been a car guy, as I mentioned, but when you live over in London, I mean, you get just infused, right? The car culture there is just exceptional. I mean, something going on every weekend. I actually joined the Royal Automobile Club.
Oh, is that right? Wow, cool.
Joined Goodwood Road Racing Club, and just immersed myself in it and really became in love with both British cars and Italian cars. Hard choice, right? But anyway, so we moved back. And when I moved back from London, I wanted to get into racing. And at that time, all you could do was go on a million different websites and search and try to look for different cars. You talk to different people. And I was looking for either a 1956, 1957 Alpha Spider, which is really kind of my sweet spot, Spider Veloce, right?
Yeah.
So I was looking at all kinds of different spots, and my buddy said, you ought to check out this email thing called Bring a Trailer. I'm like, what's that? And he said, you just subscribe and you get an email every day. And I'm like, okay, fine.
And we got a few alphas.
And they have all kinds of stuff, right? So I subscribed to the list, and I used to refer to it as like Christmas Day every morning. You open up the email and, oh, look at this. But what it was is, as you know, I mean, there were links to all the cool cars that were on different sites. It was like an aggregation email. It was really great idea, brilliant idea. And one day, somebody had put in a link that you guys published to an eBay ad for a 1957 AC Aceca race car. I had no idea what the hell an AC Aceca was, but I know that I liked what it looked like. And so I clicked on that, went to the eBay site, and it was the most beautiful thing. And it was exactly kind of what I wanted. Interesting enough, Italian design car, British car, but Italian design, Togero. And I watched it, and it did not sell. So I sent a note to the guy who was selling it, and within 48 hours, I bought it. And I then brought that car out here, and I raced it. It
was in Connecticut, or where was it? It was East Coast, wasn't it?
No, it was in Midwest.
It
was like,
okay.
I think it was like Indiana.
Because we're talking the red one with the white stripe and the red. Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember that car well. It was not just any Aceca, right? It was like cool. A setup as a race car. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah.
Well, the original car, so it had a Bristol motor, so the AC Aceca Bristol. And so those who don't know what an Aceca is the AC Ace. Everybody likes to call it a Bristol, but it's an AC Ace. The Bristol is what motor is in it. So AC Ace Bristol would be an AC Ace with a Bristol engine, but the AC Ace is the car that the AC Cobra was, that became. Carroll Shelby got the chassis from AC and turned those into the Cobra. Well, picture a coupe Cobra, because you look at it from the front, it looks just like a Cobra, but it's a coupe, two-door coupe. And this thing was fabulous. It had a 4-speed with an overdrive in it, locked to Normanville overdrive, had a straight 6, Bristol engine, which is the motor that came out of the early BMWs. And I raced the heck out of it. I had a great time. But the car had, the fellow who owned it, 2 owners beforehand, he's the one who converted it to the race car because he wanted to run in the La Carrera Panamericana.
Oh,
and it ran in the La Carrera.
Wow.
And then he also
survived.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the mods he did on it were incredible. And then he also ran it in a lot of historic racing. He ran in the British historics. I think he did the Tour Auto before it was Tour Auto. Something.
Oh,
like
wow.
That.
In Europe.
Yeah, in Europe, because he was Brit. He was living over there. And I got a hold of him to find out more history on the car. And he, as he said, he suffered a financial disaster and needed to sell the car. So
other than racing?
Yeah.
A different financial disaster?
Right, yeah. And I'm going on a little, probably too long. Sorry, but
No, I love it.
But
People love it. This is a BAT alumni car. I mean, I featured that car because I thought it was the best thing on eBay that day.
It was so cool,
and I loved it.
Yeah, and I was hooked forever, by the way. So he put it up for auction, and Bruce McCall bought it.
Really?
Yeah.
This is before you.
Before me.
Okay.
Yeah. Bruce McCall bought it, and he actually, I believe, either the Colorado Grand or the Copper State, one or the other in it, because it was a great road rally car.
Event car. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, it previously had a Fulda in it, the whole old school mileage thing. And it was just, a super reliable car. And I don't know.
You kept it for a while. You raced it, and then you unloaded it, or what did you do with that thing?
So after buying it, I raced it in HMSA and CSRG, Laguna and Sears and Thunder Hill, and I got to a point where I was like, I'd gone as fast as far as I could go with a car.
Okay,
and when you start having conversations about doing unnatural things to the car to make it do unnatural things, it's like now you're just pouring money into it, and what am I going to get? I mean, it's a 120, 130 horsepower car. We're always going to be in the middle of the pack. We were the 1957 and 1963 GT car.
Yeah.
And the problem is within that has Corvettes and there's Ferraris in there too. You get your doors blown off no matter what.
Yeah.
And so I was always hanging out in the middle, racing with MGs and stuff, which was fun. But I'm like, I want to go faster. So what really catalyzed it was I was racing down in Monterey, and the Monterey auctions were going on, and a couple of AC Acecas went up for sale.
Huh.
And they went up, and they went for a lot of money.
Oh, okay. You're like, it's time.
Like, oh, it's time. And like twice as much as I paid for the car. Now I realized when it's a race car, it takes a special buyer. So I listed it with Fantasy Junction, and in a couple of months, they sold it.
Okay.
And I bought a Formula Atlantic.
Oh, interesting.
And
I never knew that. You've never told me that. I never knew you were an open wheel out there doing stuff. Wow.
I went from training wheel bike to the real deal.
Yeah, for sure.
And because everybody had been telling me about how great these were, and basically the best thing you can do with your clothes on. So I'm like, okay. So we tried that, and I bought this great March 79B, fabulous car, absolutely fabulous car. And I learned a ton, and I raced that for 5 years, and then decided to stop racing for a bit because I'm a pilot as well, and I wanted to get back into flying a bit. And you kind of can't do both unless you're much more well off than I am.
Okay, yeah, burning both ends.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Exactly. And so I took some time off and got back into flying because I hadn't flown in a while now.
Cool.
Let's keep sharp, and so started doing that. And so I haven't gotten back into racing, but
you're running the show. Still, I mean, you got plenty going on.
Exactly, still flying, but. Fast forward, BAT. And I remember when you guys first went to the auction where you had like, I don't know, a dozen cars. And you
started with 3, man.
Yeah,
we started with 3 a week.
And true story, I texted Keith Martin, from Sports Car Market.
Yeah, magazine. Sure. He's a friend.
We'd become friends. And I said, what do you think about this going to the auction? It's kind of, and we were both like, this could catch on, but I was a little dubious about it, honestly, because I was like, competing against eBay or competing against, the auction houses. I didn't think they were going to do that, take that quietly, go quietly with that. But, never underestimate the BAT community element. I mean, that's obviously what caught fire.
Yep.
And, fast forward through that, I've been a devoted BAT fella. I've sold 3 cars on BAT. I sold my 1960 Austin-Healey BT7.
There you go.
I sold my 2007 Audi RS4.
Nice.
And
I didn't know you had one of those. Man, you got all these secrets that are coming out. I love this. I love those Audis.
I moved.
I got the Audi downstairs. I love those.
Big Audi fan.
Okay, cool.
So, when I was living in London, I got turned into the RS4 and the RS4 Avant.
They had stuff we didn't have.
The wagon.
Yes.
The wagon is the ultimate grocery getter.
Yeah, that's a good
incredible car. But I love that car so much. So I found one online at a dealer. It was a dealer car, Mugello blue, black interior.
Man, cool.
Oh, and I had it delivered.
But you sold it on BAT.
Yeah, I had it. Hold on. I had it delivered to my friend before I even moved back from London. He took delivery a week before I moved back.
Wow.
So drove that, my daily driver. Great, ultimate sleeper car.
Yes.
People are like, oh, that's kind of S4. No, it's an RS4.
Yeah.
Don't confuse the two. So I sold that and I got a 2009 R8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mugello blue
Okay.
with silver blades.
I wish you would say you're buying all these on BAT. I don't think you are. You're selling. You're smart. You buy them elsewhere and then you sell them for Big Joe on BAT. Is that the model?
It is kind of the model.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of the model. But no, and that, that remains to this day my favorite car.
Okay. But it's gone, or it's still
gone.
around.
It's gone. So I when I took the job heading up the Academy of Art University's Auto Museum.
That's right. Oh man, we could talk about that too forever. That's amazing.
And it was my daily driver, and the location for the museum was not ideal, particularly for an R8.
The Van Ness location, or a different one. Yeah, it's right on Van Ness Avenue, in an old
House of Prime Rib
car dealer or an old bank, or what was it in?
That one was it was like a furniture store and some other stuff.
Okay, I didn't know if it was the
other location
BMC.
Further down Van Ness. That was an old Mercedes dealer.
Yeah, that's right.
Stuff.
That's right.
But the main location, like where my office, where the School of Industrial Design, where Tom Matano was.
Yeah,
all that was
R.I.P. Tom Matano.
Yeah, exactly. So I was. Candidly, I'm commuting in an R8.
Yeah.
It was less than ideal.
Okay.
And I only had 2 spots in the garage.
Yeah. Okay.
So that had to go.
That went on BAT. I love it. We'll pull up some
Audi Q3 replaced it.
Yeah.
But now I've got my Jag F-Type S.
Okay. Cool.
Dark blue.
Okay.
Tan interior, convertible.
Okay.
It's a fun car.
Nice.
It's a very fun car. But I love BAT. And I've turned so many people onto it for selling their cars or trying to buy cars. And, when you start wanting to do research too I need to buy a car or sell a car, your database is just invaluable
for a wide variety of crazy models. And then you brought a crazy car to BATHQ to give a little shop talk to our staff. That's a long time ago now. You remember when that was?
Yeah, that was.
Was it in 18?
Yeah.
Right. I think it was, because we moved into this place in 17, I think. And then it was pre-COVID and you came cruising in. We had a couple interesting cars. I forget. Somebody else brought a more modern Ferrari, and then you tell them what you brought.
Yeah. I brought a 275 GTB.
That was sweet.
Red and
like once every 2 weeks or so, we would have an interesting car in the office and we'd do like a familiarization walk around. This is when our pretty much our whole staff was here. Actually, they were, right? Pre-COVID. We didn't really go very remote yet. So our whole staff was here, and we'd like buy sandwiches, and somebody would pull in a Porsche 914-6, and then an old Mustang, and then we had a couple Alpha GTVs here, and we talked about them, and E9 BMWs. We had all these people around, and we just say, "Hey, bring your car. We'll do like a coffee talk around it." And that was great for our staff. And then you're like, "Well, why don't I bring a 275?" And I was like, "Well, heck yeah, why don't you bring that?"
That was fun.
So that was a ton of fun.
Although driving in the kind of sketchy areas of the 275 was
we try not to keep it too sketchy around here, but peering out the window, Potrero Hill
isn't bad.
Can get a little tricky.
On the way here to deal with it. It's funny when we think about the Academy of Art, every year was a big supporter of the auto show.
SF Auto Show.
Yeah, at Moscone.
Yes.
And if you went, I'm sure you did.
I went every Thanksgiving, right? It was Thanksgiving weekend. My dad used to take me every year, for 100%. A dozen years.
Me too. I always looked forward to that when I was a kid. And but AAU had a big area, and we usually brought about 15, 17 cars.
Yeah.
And they were always great cars, and it was an amazing coordinated effort. We had to, first of all, make sure all the cars were running. And then at night, when there's no traffic and nobody around, we would transport the cars
them over, right?
From the museum.
On the road, you'd drive them over, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just, not 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But, weaving around San Francisco from Van Ness over to Moscone, suffice to say there's some areas you don't want to break down.
It's a tricky neighborhood.
Very tricky. Yeah. I'm driving a Talbot Lago, open car.
Just kind of going, just kind of idling it across 6th Street.
Oh, and there was, stoplights didn't exist.
Well, I was going to say,
red,
if there's a red and you're supposed to park there for 3 minutes and let the locals have a discussion with you, you just hit the gas.
No question. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like, hi, bye. Yeah, keep going. And then you have to reverse the process on that Sunday night.
That's amazing.
At the end of the show.
That's a good story. I love that.
Yeah,
man. And you were involved with the Academy for how long?
2.5 years.
Okay.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah. Okay. And they divested a lot of cars. Are they even still having cars anymore, or they don't have any more?
No, they're all gone.
They're all gone. Okay.
So when I first started there, we had 250 cars.
Oh my gosh.
And we had some amazing cars. I mean, absolutely incredible cars.
I remember.
Tons of Packards, Rolls Royce, a number of Duesenbergs, a number of Bugattis, some really super rare cars.
They've all moved on.
Cars
Wow, that's
they've
crazy.
All moved on. Actually, funny story. Before I was working there, I had this awesome 1970 Mini Cooper S. That was robin's egg blue, white top, Australian.
Very cool.
So really rare, Australian right-hand drive. Super great
The
car.
Aussie ones came with actually some different features that people like. Yeah. Actually, getting an Aussie shell was a big deal. Yeah, it had the rain gutters.
The window handles and the door handles were different.
That's right.
Exterior latch.
That's right.
And this car was perfect. Anyway, it won first in class at Palo Alto and at Hillsborough when I showed it. I had my kids show it.
Wow.
And the folks at the Academy liked it. Actually, the brother of the president of the university, Lisa Stevens, liked it. And so I sold it to him. So fast forward, I'm now working there and I see my old car there every day. And then not this year, but last January or February, when they were selling off the final cars, that car went up for sale.
Did it?
Because they had sold off all these other cars. They finally were selling, I want to say their favorites. We'll see, whatever you want. But it came up for sale. And I talked to my wife. I'm like, you want to buy it back? And she's like, well, let's see. We watch it. And it gets bid and starts going up and up. And I'm like, okay, it's now exceeded my threshold.
Okay.
And it sold for great money. And ultimately, it turns out, from what I understand, it was sold to Mr. Farley, CEO.
Oh, is that right?
Ford.
Oh my goodness, really? Yeah. He wanted a Mini. He's a big dude. Does he squeeze into that little Mini?
I hope this is true, but I was told it was being shipped to Jim Farley. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we can follow up with that. He's a BAT user. He's been on the podcast. Yeah. And I sat right here with a couple nice chats with Jim.
How nice is that to have a CEO who's a proper car guy?
Yeah, no, he's legit and he does very cool things with cars. And I had to race in his same class at Monterey last year and it was terrifying because he's the fastest dude out there.
Oh, yeah. So his Cobra's going to run well.
Yeah, it tends to.
Yeah.
It tends to.
No question.
So that's fun. Well, thanks for sharing that story. Yeah, there's some San Francisco connections and yeah, we didn't even touch on the Martin Swig connection. Obviously, just San Francisco car culture has had a lot of different folks in it. And I always consider you someone that's sort of at the center of that, right? With the connections through the Art Academy and also now Hillsborough Concours and then just different things that have gone on here. And there were sort of a wave of different eras of car people in the city. And you've been tied in with that and I've been tied in with that. And that's kind of how you and I ended up getting to know each other. But BAT has been a through line that has tied a lot of those different groups together. And thankfully, now it's tying the Hillsborough Concours in. And I'm very glad that our audience can hear all about it and hopefully come out and say hello to me, to others.
Please do.
And Rob, if they can see you, you'll be on the mic and on the MC duty all day. Will. Are you going to be just talking nonstop the whole day? Or what do you end up doing?
No.
You eating steak sandwiches and kicking your feet up.
I do a fair bit of talking about the one thing, I will do a survey every few years. One of the kind of themes was that they came back that, for improvements, right? Not so much talking, do less talking. And it wasn't, candidly, it wasn't me at the time, but we didn't know, we had a kind of a thing going. And so when I took over as MC, I just kind of put myself in their shoes too. They don't want to hear me talking all day long.
Yeah.
We'll do a fair bit of talking during the awards when that comes out. And, we have some important things to talk about when we're honoring the charities or celebrating, anniversaries or remembering people, things like that. But, get off the stage, get out, see the cars, check it out. And then, it also, frankly, I love walking out there, talking to people, getting infused with the vibe on the field and actually seeing the cars physically. Because, I look through all the applications, I'm part of the selection process. So it's nice to see the cars and you'll pick a few in your mind as a person who's organizing the event. That's an interesting story. I want to go see that. Mm. And, there's the Robin Sue Fisher Phoenix Award, which we award to a car that's got a phenomenal story that basically the car was binned, and resurrected into an amazing show car or something cool. Like that. And then since I'm president of the candy store, there's the candy store president award. And so I get to pick 2 trophies anyway, even though I'm MC.
Yeah.
So I got to go out there and talk to people anyway. But it also gives me some kind of fodder when I come back to the mic to talk about while I'm out there. Mm-hmm. But, it's such a beautiful venue. Yes, you've never been there.
I know. I've never been. This is I've been to the venue, but only to swing a club. I haven't been there to, look at the cars. So I'm excited for it.
Shame on you. But it's just gorgeous out there. And like I said, the food's great. The cars are wonderful. We've got, it's on a golf course. So there's sand traps, right? And my wife was like, how do we make this we talked about trying to be appealing to everybody. And what about the little kids? Because little kids will drive you nuts when you're trying to look at cars, right? My wife's like, oh, you know what? We'll put
throw them in the
sand.
Toys.
We'll
Yeah, there you go.
So she went and bought a whole bunch of sand toys, and we put sand toys in the sand trap. I can't tell you how many times people come up and say, thank you so much for doing that. And we've got great pictures of the kids just playing and having a good time.
Yep.
And so, we got the local community, somebody always from the local community sings the national anthem when we kick it off.
Great.
And
you're right up against it. You're like the week before the 4th of July, 250th 4th of July, right? We got to get some red, white, and blue going.
Actually, that's a really good point. And so it's just a delightful day out. And again, you don't even have to be a car person to come in and appreciate the aesthetic, because they are really, truly rolling works of art. And if you find yourself looking for something to do on, June 28th, it's not a bad place to go. It's not a bad deal.
Well, look for it. We'll look straight for it, not just as last resort, as first resort. I'm excited for it. Super excited that we can partner this year.
Yes, really.
Thanks for being a great partner in that, and excited that we can have you on the podcast. And tell the crowd about it. Tell them about the ticket offer, $10 off for being part of BAT when you do that. And again, come on out, meet us, and take a look at this event, which sounds like it's going to be a great one. Rob, super cool to have you on the podcast and your history with BAT. And also the other thing that'll be in the story and such is looking at the links of those old cars. We'll put the link. Everything on BAT's permanent, as you know. So the Aceca listing that I wrote up in the middle of the night.
Did you really?
Of course, I wrote that one. We'll link that, and then we'll link to those other fun cars that you've sold on BAT. You're an authentic user and advocate for BAT, which we really appreciate, because part of BAT's, we have people always try to point like, why is BAT growing, or why did it do what it did? There were sort of important folks over the years that were big believers in what we were doing and used it and adopted it early. Yeah. And I count you on that list. So thank you for doing that.
I would definitely be an evangelist. I have been for sure.
You have been for years and years. So anyhow, great to have you here. Really fun interview and hear so many layers of this. It sounds like we could, unpeel the onion more and more and more as we go.
For sure.
And we'll maybe have to have you back another time. But thanks for joining. Thanks everybody out there for listening to this episode of the BAT Podcast. Rob Fisher, high fives to you. And we hope for a great show in a couple weeks here. And everybody out there listening, we'll catch you on the next BAT Podcast.